From 2013 to 2017, the Sixers were trash. They missed the playoffs every single year. The fans were calling for a change, and in response to this, the Sixers told their fans to just trust the process. They tanked hard during this time, and it paid off pretty well, because they accumulated top 3 picks in 2014 and 2015, along with the number 1 overall picks in 2016 and 2017. The Sixers were terrible, no doubt, but this young core and high draft capital gave them a slither of hope, and the process was led by none other than Joel Embiid. Fast forward to 2018, the process was fully in swing. The Sixers had back-to-back number 1 overall picks. They drafted Ben Simmons first overall in 2016 and Markelle Fultz first overall in 2017. The Sixers then took this roster and claimed the 3rd seed in the East and made it to the 2nd round. It seemed like the process was finally becoming a reality and that this team had the brightest future of any team in the NBA. But now, in the 2024-25 season, the 76ers still have not made it past the 2nd round of the playoffs. And while a lot of blame can go to a lot of people, especially Ben Simmons completely forgetting how to play basketball in the 2021 playoffs, a lot of the blame has to fall on Joel Embiid. In this video, we'll explore how Embiid's lazy mentality and reliance on load management have negatively impacted the Philadelphia 76ers and the NBA's overall competitiveness and integrity. The rise of Embiid. Embiid was born in Cameroon and lived there till the age of 15. He didn't grow up playing basketball, but at the age of 15 he entered a basketball camp in his hometown, hosted by fellow Cameroonian NBA player Luc Ba Amute. Luc saw tremendous potential in Embiid and took him under his wing. Joel moved to the States, enrolling at the Rock School in Florida. Embiid decided to take his talents to Kansas to play for legendary coach Bill Self and the Jayhawks. Embiid averaged just over 11 points and won Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. But before he could show off his stuff in the NCAA tournament, Embiid got hurt and Kansas lost in the 2nd round. This would become a theme in his career. Despite the injury, Joel Embiid entered the NBA with high expectations. The 76ers drafted him with the 3rd pick in 2014. Embiid immediately had to get surgery on his foot, which sidelined him for the 2015 season. However, there were some additional complications, and Embiid ended up needing more surgery and missed the 2016 season as well. But Embiid still showed flashes of brilliance during his early seasons with the 76ers. His combination of size, skill, and athleticism made him one of the most unique players in the league. Embiid possesses an almost unprecedented blend of scoring, rebounding, and shot blocking for a player of his size. His agility and basketball IQ are extraordinary, and when fully healthy, he's capable of being one of the most dominant forces in the league. Yet, despite all of his talent, Embiid's career has been full of inconsistency, both in terms of his performance and his commitment to being on the court. Injuries are often said to be the main reason for his missed games, but there are times when his dedication to keeping his body in the best shape possible have been called into question. Embiid's lazy mentality. While Joel Embiid has had moments of brilliance, there's a growing perception around the NBA that his mentality on and off the court is one of the key factors holding him back. His performances have been inconsistent, especially during critical playoff moments, and his work ethic has sometimes been questioned by coaches, teammates, and analysts. During his year at Kansas, Joel was warned by his coaches that his sugar intake was dangerous. This story from the Wichita Herald sums up Embiid's sugar addiction. Of all the American ideals to fall in love with, Embiid fell hardest for pink lemonade, the bottled kind. In the moments after games, he would head to the refrigerator at the back of the media room and shovel bottles into his arms like a child with a night full of Halloween loot. He drank it by the gallon, and the KU coaches and staffers always scolded him about his sugar intake. It wasn't just the lemonade. He was always gorging on cookies, inhaling brownies, or crushing the stash of candy his father brought from Cameroon. He laughed when the subject came up, but the lessons about his diet began to take hold. If you're gonna be a great one, you can't be drinking 5 bottles of pink lemonade after every practice. If you're gonna be a great one, you have to stay focused to the little details. If you're gonna be great, you have to mature, you have to grow, you have to listen. But this was college Embiid. He was fairly new to America and was just doing what college students do. Surely he would dedicate himself to his actual job once he makes it to the pros. Perhaps Embiid has laid off the candy, but he still is not entirely dedicated to his craft. In interviews and reports over the years, it's been clear that Embiid has struggled with his conditioning. This is not to say that he's lazy compared to normal people, but his off-season commitment to improving his body and staying in shape has often been put into question. The NBA's physical demands are intense, and in order to compete at the highest level, players must maintain peak physical conditioning year-round. Embiid, however, has struggled with this aspect of his career, often showing up to training camp overweight or out of shape. This has led to a slower start to each season, making it difficult for him to fully capitalize on his potential. A lazy mentality doesn't only affect a player's off-season preparation, it can also be seen in their commitment during the regular season. Embiid at times has been accused of taking plays off, especially on the defensive end. Whether it's a lack of effort on a fast break, not challenging a shot at the rim, or simply standing around on offense, his body language has occasionally shown signs of disengagement. These instances lead to frustration among fans and teammates, especially considering the expectations placed on a player of his caliber. When you're expected to be the focal point of a franchise and a potential MVP candidate, the mindset to consistently give maximum effort becomes non-negotiable. Unfortunately, Embiid has had his fair share of moments where that mindset has been in question. Load management. Another element that has added to Embiid's lazy mentality is the practice of load management. While this practice may seem reasonable from a medical perspective, it's raised questions about its impact on the integrity of the game and the overall competitive nature of the league. Many fans began to complain that they spend their hard-earned money taking their family to the game only for their favorite players to simply sit out. The NBA has even changed rules, making the season awards like MVP only available to players who participate in a certain amount of games. This is meant to incentivize players to suit up for as many games as possible. While the NBA is beginning to crack down on load management, Joel Embiid is still a prominent figure in the load management conversation. Over the years, Embiid's playing time has been restricted, especially in back-to-back games or during stretches of the season where he might have a greater risk of injury. While it's understandable for a player with a history of injury concerns to take caution, Embiid's frequent rest days have contributed to the perception that he isn't fully committed to playing every game possible. This approach has had serious repercussions for the Philadelphia 76ers as they've been forced to adapt their roster and strategies to accommodate Embiid's absences. Impact on the 76ers. The impact of Joel Embiid's lazy mentality and load management on the Philadelphia 76ers is significant. A team with a player of Embiid's caliber should be built around his presence, yet his inconsistency and frequent absences have prevented the 76ers from reaching their full potential. The organization has spent years constructing a roster around him, bringing in various pieces like Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, and now Paul George in hopes to win a championship. However, the lack of consistency from Embiid has resulted in many near misses when it comes to playoff time. One of the biggest consequences of Embiid's load management is the inability to build team chemistry. The 76ers have consistently struggled with injuries both to Embiid and other key players, but when your star player is unavailable for a significant portion of the season, it's difficult to develop the teamwork necessary to make a deep playoff run. The Celtics cruised to the championship last year because they had a strong roster from top to bottom and had great chemistry with their teammates. The continuity of playing together game in and game out allows teams to understand one another's play style, build trust, and develop an effective offensive and defensive system. When Embiid is out for load management, the 76ers are left to adjust on the fly, often resulting in a lack of consistency in their performance. Also, the lack of availability also hurts the fan base. Philadelphia has one of the most passionate and loyal fan bases in the NBA, but this loyalty is tested when the franchise player is frequently unavailable. Fans pay ridiculously high prices to watch Embiid play, only to see him sit on the bench for a good portion of the season. This often ruins the game day experience for fans. Not only is Embiid not playing, but because he's sitting out, they're far more likely to lose. And losing has become the Sixers' specialty. mentality, especially in the playoffs. In 2018, they lost to the Celtics in the second round. In 2019, they lost to the Raptors on the insane Kawhi Leonard buzzer beater. In the bubble, they got swept by Boston in the first round. In 2021, they were the 1 seed and got upset by the Hawks in the second round. In 2022, they lost to the Heat in the second round. In 2023, they lost to the Celtics in the second round. And last season, they lost to the Knicks in the first round. 7 straight seasons of having a top-tier team in the East and failing to make the conference finals. To add on to this failure, the Sixers have started this season 3-13. The only team worse in the whole league is Washington Wizards, who are an absolute dumpster fire of an organization. While Joel Embiid is a focal point of this discussion, the responsibility for his lazy mentality and the over-reliance on load management doesn't fall solely on him. The Philadelphia 76ers, as an organization, have allowed Embiid's work habits to slide, and they've continued to build their roster around him despite his inconsistency. The front office must take some responsibility for not addressing these concerns earlier in Embiid's career. Conclusion: Joel Embiid's lazy mentality and the culture of load management that has followed him are more than just isolated issues. They have consequences for both the Philadelphia 76ers and the NBA. The Sixers seem to be stuck in basketball purgatory with Embiid always being good but never good enough to win it all. The NBA is letting its fans down by allowing their stars to sit out when there's nothing wrong with them. In order for both the NBA to reach their potential and produce the best product they possibly can, they need to make some changes to the lazy mentality of players, coaches, and front offices around the league who want to continue this excessive load management. As for the Sixers, they have the roster to make a run. Embiid is a top 5 player in the league when he's healthy and actually wants to play. Maxey is an emerging young star, Paul George has been a top 20 player for a decade now, and Jared McCain looks like Rookie of the Year right now. It's just a matter of how bad they want it, and it all starts from Embiid. If he doesn't flip a switch and puts his all into winning, his team will rot in mediocrity for as long as he's there. His attitude serves as a cautionary tale for NBA franchises. Having a lazy mentality does not win championships at the highest level. But what do you think about Joel Embiid and the 76ers? Will they turn it around, or will they have to blow it up and trust the process all over again? Let us know in the comments below.